Joe, what's your gut at this point?
Well, my gut is that Donald Trump has just made a lot more enemies inside the FBI. There were a lot of conservatives inside the FBI and the CIA that supported Donald Trump for their own reasons. I talked to a good number of them. I talked to one yesterday who was absolutely stunned and said, this is the sort of thing that happens in Turkey. This is the sort of thing that happens in Russia. It's absolutely frightening. But as we have McCabe going to the Hill, he needs to answer the question of why he's leaking to White House chief of staffs about what he's testifying to in closed door sessions in Congress. We also need the Congress. I've been writing down the lies that everybody's been talking about. McCabe or somebody at the FBI has to be made aware again today that Donald Trump demanded an oath of loyalty from the FBI director. He didn't get it. And so Comey got fired. Donald Trump lied in his statement as to the firing of Jim Comey, saying that Comey had told him 3 times that Donald Trump was not under investigation. The fact is, Donald Trump's collusion with Russia, Donald Trump's team and their collusion with Russia, actually is part of an investigation that Jim Comey had told the Deputy Attorney General he was going to expand. After that, we find out that Donald Trump calls the Deputy Attorney General and the Attorney General into his office and say, draft me a memo, I want to fire him. Yesterday, Donald Trump and others said Comey was not fired because of Russia. We find out again today, as we read the papers this morning, all lies. They were all lying. Everybody in the White House lying through their teeth. Also, again, the fact that the Attorney General of the United States had to remove himself from the Russian investigation because of his conflicts. And yet he was the one that went in to make the final call with Donald Trump. Donald Trump had talked to all of the sycophants around him, and all the sycophants said, yeah, boss, fire Jim Comey. He said, okay, well, thank you, sycophants. I knew you weren't going to, cross me, because you never do, because you're sycophants. But let me call in Jeff Sessions. And so he calls the Deputy Attorney General in, and the Attorney General, and then makes the decision to fire the FBI director, who has told them he's expanding the investigation. Mika, this doesn't have to be a constitutional crisis. If the United States Senate and the United States House of Representatives does their jobs, and let me just say, for Republicans watching this morning, and I know a lot of you are watching this morning on the Hill, you need to understand what you do over the next month is going to determine whether you're in charge in the House or whether Nancy Pelosi is the Speaker of the House. Donald Trump's approval rating is 36% this morning. The congressional ballot test is historically bad. It's -16 against Republicans. That means if the election were held today, Nancy Pelosi would be Speaker of the House, and it wouldn't even be close. You went over the cliff for a health care bill you didn't believe in. You went over a cliff for a health care bill that only 18% of Americans supported. And you did it for a president who only wanted you as a backdrop in a ribbon-cutting ceremony. That's one thing. Bad bills come, bad bills go. It happens every year. What we're talking about now is a president that is subverting the Constitution of the United States of America. I promise you this, mark it down. If you go along with this man and you allow this to go unchecked, you will be swept aside in 2018 and politically crushed, and the Republican Party will not recover from it for a very long time.
And
your call. It's all in your hands.
That's the least of our problems, by the way. Still ahead on Morning Joe.